Hello, welcome to my channel today. This is a King's Tutor. The first time of joining us, thank you for clicking to this. Ensure you like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. Okay. Now, I want to see a question that has to do with bank reconciliation statement. That's the question of Imo State University Year 1 accounting student. Okay. Relating to bank reconciliation statement. Now, we have done several videos on that. Okay. From the scratch. I'll drop it in the link in the comment section in my YouTube channel. So ensure you watch that. Okay. Now, let's see the question. It said, the following are the cash book of a trader and the bank statement for that period. You are required to adjust the cash book and prepare a bank reconciliation statement. So we have, as you can see there, the cash book bank column only. We have January 1, 2025, balance brought down to 50,000. January 4, cash deposit 10,000. OB 60,000, AZ 40,000, and Joku 40,000. All sum to give 760. Then we have on the credit side, January 2, 2025, Ada 50,000, Ngozi 15,000, Dorati 60,000, Lineka 80,000, and the balance carried down is 555,000, which sum up to 760,000. We also have the bank statement given there. We have for Ada 50, cash 10,000, 60,000, 40, 30, 40, 80, and 20,000 respectively. Okay, and there are various balances. So now we're asked to use this question to prepare the adjusted cash book and also the bank reconciliation statement. We have done several videos from scratch doing this. Okay, now there's something I'm going to say at the end of the video on how to know if what you did, even in the exam hall, if what you did is correct when it comes to bank reconciliation statement, and how you would know that what you have done is what correct. Okay, now when we are giving a cash book and a bank statement, there are several things you need to check. Now, the first thing you need to do is check the debit side of the cash book and the credit side of the bank statement. Okay, now you're going to see some items that are the same. For instance, let's check the debit side of our cash book. We have 250,000 as the balance brought down. Of course, we have it at the as balance in the bank statement, 250,000. Okay, now we have cash book, cash deposit 10,000. We have it at the credit side of the bank statement, 10,000. We have OB at the cash book, 60,000, but it is not there. So that's what I'm about to explain. Now, if items in the cash book debit side that do not appear at the credit side of the bank statement, now we call those items uncredited check. Okay, uncredited check. Items in the debit side of the cash book that are not on the credit side of the bank statement, we call them uncredited check. Why also, we're going to check at the credit side of the cash book also. Now, you're going to see items also that appears on the credit side of the cash book and also debit side of the bank statement. Tick them. But those ones that appears at the credit side of the cash book that do not appear at the debit side of the bank statement, we call that unpresented check. Okay. Now, after you're done for the cash book, I said you come to the bank statement. You also check what are those things at the debit side of the bank statement that are not at the credit side of the cash book. And those items might be the bank charges, commission on turnover as regards this one. Okay. So also you're going to check the credit side of the bank statement, comparing it to the debit side of the bank cash book. Items that do not appear, that appears at the credit side of the bank statement but do not appear at the debit side of the cash book. Those are items like credit transfer, dividend, and those other items that comes inside the cash book, inside the bank account, sorry, without them taking note of that at the debit side of the cash book. So doing that in this work now, from here now, we have OB 60,000 at the debit side of the cash book that is not at the credit side of the bank statement. So that's part of the uncredited check. We also have Easy 40,000. It also appeared on Joku 400,000. It is not at the credit side. So those two are uncredited check. Let's take note. Now also we go to the cash book, the credit side. So we have Ada 50,000. It appears at the debit side of the bank statement. Ngozi 15,000. It did not appear. So Ngozi is an unpresented check. The rat is 60,000. It appears at the debit side of the bank statement. Then Nneka 80,000. It did not appear. So Nneka is also unpresented check. Okay. Now we'll come to the bank statement. Now we have commission on turnover. That is at the debit side of the bank statement, but did not appear at the credit side of the cash book. So we are gonna deduct that one from when we are preparing the adjusted cash book. And also, you check the credit side of the bank statement. We have 10,000 cash. Is at the debit side of the cash book. We have 40,000 from Easy. Is there at the debit side of the cash book. Then we have 30,000 dividend. It is not at the cash book. We also have 80,000 cash deposit by Mike. It is not also at the cash book. And rent by Mike is also on the cash book. So let's prepare the adjusted cash book. Okay. So the name of the owners are of the owner. Okay, they just said for a trader. So they didn't put the name of the owner. Okay. So I'm just gonna have adjusted cash book. Okay. So adjusted cash book. So we're gonna have a balance brought forward or brought down. And the balance brought forward there is 555,000. That's the balance carried down for the cash book in the question. Okay. So that is that. Now we're going to add those items that appear on the credit side of the bank statement that are not on the debit side of the cash book. So the first item there is the dividend. So we have dividend of how much? 30,000. Okay. Another item there is the cash deposit by Mike. So I have cash deposit, and it is how much? 80,000. Another one there is rent. Is how much? 20,000. Okay. So that is that. Now we're going to list those items that appears on the debit side of the bank statement, but are not on the credit side. So the only item we have there is commission on turnover, and it is what 40,000. 40,000. Okay, so that's all. Now I'm going to get the balance. Now you add this from here, it gives us 685,000. Okay, so this is 40,000. So our balance carried down here will be 685,000 minus 40,000. So it becomes 645,000. So this will give us 685,000. Okay. So that is that. So we're going to prepare the bank reconciliation statement now. So we have bank reconciliation statement. So I'm going to start with balance as per adjusted cash book. Okay. Balance as per adjusted cash book. And it will now be this, no longer this, because we have adjusted the cash book. So we're using balance as per adjusted cash book, which is 645,000. Okay. So we'll now have add unpresented check. Add unpresented check. And the unpresented check in the question we have seen was that those items that was credited in the cash book, but were not debited in the bank statement. So we have Ngozi 15,000. The other person there is what? Neka, which is how much? 80,000. So 15,000 plus 80,000 gives us 95,000. So 95,000 plus 645,000 is 000. 0. This is 5, and this is, sorry, this is 4, and this is 7. So that is 740,000. Okay. So the next thing now is to less uncredited check. Now, uncredited check, those check that appears at the debit side of the cash book, but do not appear at the credit side of the bank statement. I will say we have two, which are OB 60,000, and the next one is Njoku 400,000. So that's the only two. So 6,000 plus 400,000 gives us what? 460,000. Okay. So 740 minus 460, which is 000. Which is 740 minus 460 gives us 280,000. So this 280,000 becomes balance as per bank statement. So this is the balance you ought to see at the final aspect of the bank statement. Now, I said I'm going to show you how to know if what you did was right, even right in the exam hall. Okay. Now, when your final answer you have here after doing this, when it relates to this, using starting from the cash book, okay, and the balance of the bank statement. Now, check in the question the balance as per bank statement, the last value there, the bank statement, that 280,000 credit you see there. So 280,000. So it means that what you did was right. So even if you're writing the example and you come across that and you notice that what you did is what right. Okay. So that is how to solve this. So ensure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Now I want to give you an assignment. Now we're talking about a bank reconciliation statement. Now I want you to list those 5 things that causes discrepancy or difference or disagreement between the bank statement and the cash book. What are those 5 things that causes disagreement between the cash book and the bank statement? And drop it in the comment section and I'll respond if you got that. Thank you very much.